Now, I think I should still run against you.
Why?
Well, if I drop out just as you announce your candidacy, people might suspect something's up. It's better that our political legerdemain remain sub rosa. Sub rosa.
Sub rosa. Sub rosa.
You believe what you want, lass. Just dinna light that candle.
Oh, no. Stop this. Stop this, please.
Beverly, it's all right. Have trust in me.
How would a normal person say that, Dad?
I did fall asleep reading a particularly erotic chapter in my grandmother's journal.
This is gonna be sweet.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live in Technicolor from the beautiful Hollywood Hills, California. The show where the total retail price of their advice is $0. This is Timelines Talk. Featuring guest stars. The fact of the matter is, oh my, it's stars and garters. Also featuring, more like command dips suck, look out, it's Automaton 2000. And now, there's no way he gets this intro right. Here's your host, Captain Idol.
Oh, okay. Whew. Oh, sorry, that was just reading a particularly erotic chapter in my grandmother's journal. Welcome to Timelines Talks, the premium #1 erotic show for all things Star Trek Timelines. I am joined by my co-host here, Automaton 2000.
Not for long.
It had to be done. It had to be done. We cannot have the infamous Sub Rosa episode without referencing, thanks to you, to the Fraser episode, and also without having, some attention paid to the more Randy aspects. But yes, and we are completely on theme this week. We will be talking about the new Mega event that's come out. There will be event previews. We've got features revealed about the new feature coming soon. The tray overhaul, the new things that are coming in, event crew, all sorts of things that happened this week. We actually got a busy week. There's so much I can't read through my show notes fast enough. But, Auto, I believe you are struggling a bit this week. You've come down with a case of the ills? the pox? You said you were struggling.
Did you read that in your grandmother's journal too?
Let me just check. Hang on. Yeah, hang on. Page. No. I'd like to thank my wife for letting me borrow one of her books and reading it upside down.
I was just going to ask, is that yours or your wife's? Be honest.
Let's have a look. Hang on. This is Leslie Pierce's Father's Unknown. Daisy was adopted, but when her mother dies, she finds her secure. Yeah, it's about the same kind of thing.
Is there a sinewy bloke on the cover?
There's just a look in the eye. This is if I want to buy a book.
Yeah, it's definitely hers. Yeah.
If I want to buy a book for my wife, this is the kind of theme I go for. I don't look at the author or anything. I just kind of like, is there a wistful woman on the cover looking into the middle distance? Oh yeah, that's perfect for her. Anyway, this week let's start off with last week's event, as we always do. So last week's event was the sort of flashback-esque, or was a flashback, to win Delta Flyer Taurus, and congratulations from the Mirror Fleet. Biel's coming at #1. You have your 505 Taurus. Congratulations. I believe that was quite a hot one as well. 18 million was the total score for a faction event. Excuse me. We also have, I noticed, Mirror Sanoa.
That was for a skirmish.
Yes. Oh, that was a first skirmish. Sorry, yes. Not the highest score, but definitely a competitive one in the top ranks. We also see Sanoa from the Mirror Fleet in #3. 10F's very own Loki from my former fleet in #14, and also Fairhaven, also a 10F in Terran in number I don't know what because I didn't write it down, but he's up there in the top 50 somewhere. So congratulations everyone that we recognise and can acknowledge, and congratulations to everyone else. What shall we start with this week? Shall we go for the...
Gonna light the candle.
Yeah,
I
think we have to talk about the very infamous episode Sub Rosa. We now have, indeed, Caldos IV. I want all my grandmother's ghosts inside me, Crusher. We're setting the bar low this week. Yes, Caldos IV Crusher is... Right, this is going to confuse us, because this week is Caldos IV Crusher, but we also have events for next week's crew. But let's talk about her first, and let me just tweak this off and put that on. There we go. Go on.
I thought I was going to be confused. Actually, I still am. When they switched it used to be, now you compete in the event, you win the crew, and they're a bonus the next week. It used to be that the crew would be bonus that week, and then you win. So, see, I'm so confused already. And now they're adding in, I guess it is Star Trek timelines, but now they're adding in, we're getting the event stuff a week early, but the current event hasn't even started yet, so
and
we'll be making mistakes on that for a little while.
And we're getting pop-ups. Like, the first thing you see when you log in is next week's event. So you log in and kind of go, did I miss her event? Oh no, wait, no, that's not happened
what
yet.
What year is it? How long have I been asleep?
You do have a bit of a, oh, hang on, I'm so far in the future, which is great. It's a good thing we're now seeing the event hub being used for what it was intended for, which is, looking at events coming in the future. But it does kind of a bit like, oh, hang on, what about this week's event?
Well, I believe Shannon on the forum said that was not necessarily intended.
Okay.
That if you're supposed to get a pop-up, it's supposed to be for the upcoming event, not for the upcoming plus 1 week event. So we'll see if they fix that. But I think they're spinning a lot of plates right now, and every little new feature has another little new bug with it. So it'll probably take a few weeks to shake everything out.
As it always is with any kind of release. But Caldos IV Crusher, Symed.
Every time you say release, I think of that episode where we're talking about crew slots, crew slot relief, and Stars is like his O face in the background.
Oh, I should have had that on the little triggers, but never mind. Caldos IV Crusher, Symed Dip, Voyager number 49. There has been a streak lately of some quite high Voyagers come in. We've had Adira Tal, Luau Paris, various people come in that have sort of been chugging their way into the top 100, even the top 50. But Symed is maybe a little bit over. Well, I don't know. You can speak to this more than I can, which is why I'm glad I don't do this alone.
Yeah, it's a lot more common than it used to be. And a lot of these strong med crew, Marcelo Culber, Indulgence 7, those big med names that you want also have the med side there. So you might be accidentally collecting it without realizing it, but she's still quite good. And actually, the most interesting thing to me is we just had the Dowd, Kevin Uxbridge, last week, and wow, he's got a big base, big side base number 2. Well, now he's number 3, like the next week or 2 weeks later. So, yeah. I did not watch Sub Rosa in preparation for this week, believe it or not.
I did, because I had to make the video.
But I'm struggling to remember what was, her big scientific breakthrough that warrants the number 2 side base in the game. But
well, here's the thing. The scientific breakthrough is realizing that she spends about 20% of the episode talking to Troi about how aroused she is. Like, literally, most of the episodes are conversations between her and Troi, just kind of go, "You didn't. I did. You didn't." Yeah.
So are they wearing yoga togs in this episode?
There was some sort of light dresses in one scene. Another episode there, they're uniformed, very casual, very kind of... This is not Picard's, usual demeanor. Everyone's top and standing on the Enterprise. No, they're very casual and talking about it. Which, it's good because they talk like they're friends, which is something you don't often see with Crusher and Troi often, other than when they're working out or, in situations talking about their grandmother's journals.
Okay.
Complaints coming in this week.
I'm going to bite my tongue so many times. Experts as we are on female relationships, I will agree that yes, it is refreshing to see that take. So one thing, since you did watch that episode, to my memory, when Picard realizes something's wrong, he goes to talk to her and beams down to the planet. And doesn't she threaten to leave Starfleet? Or she said she was going to resign or something?
She's very much under the influence.
Did she actually resign?
Good point, actually. I don't watch... I kind of flick through, but...
She has Starfleet and Federation traits, which Traits are something we'll get to later in this episode, but it's like I'm thinking the two times, one with Dr. Rega, the Ferengi scientist, where she got fired because she went with what she believed and supported Rega, and then
You can't fire me, I quit.
Yeah, and then this one, I feel like she already quit or fired the resignation papers, and
I think so. I think she said to him on the planet,
talk her out of it.
I'm resigning. I'm coming to be with my grandmother's lover.
Boy, the wordplay is off the charts this week.
You just it's such a weird episode.
The art is great. The art is what you would want, other than some kind of green mist floating around her and entering through various orifices. The art is what you want. And actually, when we first got this info a week ago, now that they've I will say now that that one extra click to get through the event hub is worth it for me to see the crew ahead of time, to get the stats a week ahead of time. That's great for planning. If you want to make an event run and you have responsibilities, it's really nice to have the week ahead of time to say, okay, maybe I can take a day off work, or I can get, I can lock my kids outside in the snow, whatever you need to do to rank for a crew. So that is the nice addition that we've been waiting for. I think we're also supposed to, Ben said something about getting packs maybe a week ahead of time, which would help with getting the crew level before they actually get the bonus. But I'm getting off base. Caldos Crusher, the art is great. The base is good. The voyage is good. The skill set's good. She even has a collection if that were to get expanded. So all around, I like her. And I ended up writing her note for the big book, and it was like there were a few crew like Greb Nedlog and Linus who, like, they're the butt of jokes, right? And they end up being represented quite poorly in games. So I'm a little surprised that Shireen Grandma's ghost lover Crusher didn't get some kind of joke attached. But the stats are quite good. So I was going to say, if you like the episode, if you like the jokes, if you like the episode, then she's definitely worth getting.
If you're a fan of Crusher, a lot of people are fans of Beverly Crusher. This is a nice variant to have on your bridge crew. Like you said, the art is fantastic, and it's a really good representation of her as well. And it's, I kind of want to go for it just for the. I'm not too worried about the stats, but I want to go for it for the art because it's lovely, sort of lighting lit from behind, the candle reflecting on her. It's definitely one of the nice. Well, they've been putting out some extremely good art lately, and this is definitely one of the nicest ones, I think.
The lighting is very good from the lantern. That's noticeable. Yeah.
I think it's called OSL, but I can't remember what that stands for. Off stage lighting or something like that. I can't remember. From my days as a mini painter.
And where was I going? I have quite a migraine, so I'm going to trail off a lot tonight. So if you have to step in and save me, step all over my toes. But this is the second good Crusher we've had recently. End of last year. What was it? Maybe end of Q3 or something. We had Mokbara Crusher in a 6-pack. So a lot of players weren't able to get her, but she was very strong and 2 in a row in casual gear, which, that they always go for the distinctive uniforms and outfits. The art that looks good, but I think one of my long requested crew was acting Captain Beverly Crusher, and that's in that Borg 2-parter where we learned what happened. Descent after Hugh was let go and the individualism infected the Borg. So she takes over the ship and med command crew that a lot of people have been waiting for, and she's in uniform there. So maybe we'll see something like that in the future. But like you said, it's nice to have a few more Crushers in game.
Apart from CMO Crusher, do we have a uniformed Crusher variant?
Well,
we do. We've got dress uniform.
Vamp, damn it, Vamp. Well, we have Dr. Crusher from the movie.
Okay. But no classic TNG uniform though, apart from CMO. Even though she's got a coat on, and she's got the lab coat on, hasn't she? So I think they could do it that way. That'd be quite nice to see.
I mean, good Lord, we have like 3 or 4 Janeways or Kirks that all have their standard uniform on. So,
and I believe we were only talking a few weeks ago. Oh, Crusher, she'll never get events. Here she is. She has.
Yeah, actually, I mean, it's almost like someone watches the show and plans that. Well, Crusher and Troi, I think combined prior to this event, have had like one event in the last 2 years combined, which is really crazy because the guys, Worf and Riker, have had plenty of events. So it is. I'm glad that they're getting picked up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of Troi, I don't know. Can we segue? Med Command, Troi.
Yeah, let's talk about, go off schedule a bit, but let's talk about not that one. Let's go.
There's a schedule.
There's a schedule. There is a schedule. Well, we have a list. We'll talk about it. It's fine. Bridal Deanna Troi is next week's 1,500 reward. The second Mega Crew. So Caldos Crusher was the first. This is the second one from the movie Star Trek Nemesis. She is Med Command number 5. She is the Med Command number 1 Voyager. However, I don't know. I'm feeling less than impressed with her if... Okay, so let's say you didn't get Reverend Phlox, you haven't got Mycelio... not necessarily Mycelio Culber, but any of the other Med Command sort of major players. This might be someone you want to sort of look at ranking for, and she'll be a ranking in a skirmish, so expect some high victory points to try and get that one.
Yeah, this this is I'm trying to, how can I say this? Okay, so now that we're getting the crew in game ahead of time in the event hub, I pulled it up, I looked, I saw Med primary, command secondary. I thought, oh, we have not had a good Med command crew. We've had like, you have Captain Bev, you have Rev Phlox, and that's it at the gold level. So I was really pumped for something big. And she's not as good as I hoped, but she still has value. So there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, like I said, Troy's, I think, has only had one. See, no, I should do a little bit of planning ahead of time. I'll look this up as I thought, but I think she's only had one event in the last 2 years. But she does own, Bridal does own the number 1 command and med for Troi. Where is she? Yeah, one event this year, one event last year. So she hasn't been a huge player, but she's popular enough that you would expect that to pick up. Now, the Med Command thing is interesting because she is more of a toolbox crew on voyages. There's an easy comparison there to Reverend Phlox. Very similar voyage power, very similar Med Command ad. And so the people are like, oh, I can get another Reverend Phlox. That's great. Well, yes, it is. But the thing you have to remember is you've had some players have had Reverend Phlox working for them for 2.5 years. And during those 2.5 years, his power level relative to the field has been higher than it is now. So picking up Deanna Troi, Bridal Troi, doesn't mean that you're going to get these last 2.5 great years of use out of, like you have out of Reverend Phlox. But she's obviously not useless because of that very rare skill pair. So you can plug her in day one. I think a lot of people, even if they only get 2 or 3 stars on her, will use her and be surprised because it's very hard to stag Med Command. This last year, 2020, we had several Med-Eng options added, including that great giveaway Medic Jet Reno. So that's been fleshed out quite a lot. Dr. Van Gogh, Prisoner Kim, etc. But Med Command is sort of the undisputed toughest skill combo to stack. So if you're still struggling to get that automatic 10 hours or 8 hours in a lot of cases, and you don't want to babysit that and check every 5 minutes, and I ran out of antimatter. I guess I should have recalled that the last dilemma. Then, yeah, she does help there. But if you're expecting to, we talked a lot last week about that elusive 12-hour voyage. You're not going to get that anytime soon with Med Command. So you have to kind of look at your roster and see, okay, am I at a break point where she can help me shore something up, or can I pass? So she's a good crew. The power level, bases, and voyage is not really what you want, but the skill set is so good, she's going to help you out anyway.
Yeah, and we've seen a few sort of newer players that have been in the last sort of 6 months and just sort of joined the game, and then, they missed out on Reverend Phlox, they missed out on some of the bigger Med Command names, and sort of asking, should I go for this one? Yeah, if your roster's young enough and you've only got a few golds and you're missing that pair, she's absolutely someone that will help you. But so a lot of the veteran players are going to be a bit more sort of cautious with it, I think.
I think this episode's chat has the word quinceañera more than all other episodes we'll ever do combined. That's not exactly.
I know it's chat trying to get me to pronounce that, and I am not going to bait. I am not falling for the bait.
It's because it's yet once you work on your Spanish. So.
Yeah, well, when she ranks again, I'll try again.
All right, you have to send him a recording of saying quinceañera and have him say it on stream.
Quinceañera? I don't know.
There's no T in there.
Is there not? No, okay. I can't read either, apparently. Well, since we're sticking with the Mega theme, go on.
Did you take second language in school?
No.
Which
Well, I
one?
did, but I was no good at it. It was
You
French.
just took English over and over again.
It took me that long. I had to take it 3 times to get it right. I'm teaching my son to read. God bless him.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Speaking of romantic feelings, we have our mega event, which has been announced this week as being something of a rather flamboyant one, featuring all the scoundrels as major players in this event. It is what I will give the best credit to Jenel Sedanian over in Discord for coming up with this name of Q Hefner. It's genius. He is Q Hefner, the red robe seals it, as the mega recurring this week, and it is it romantic scoundrel? I thought it was just scoundrel. Sorry, I just noticed you put in the notes romantic. Yeah.
Which was weird because in the announcement they list these crew: Bridal, Deanna, Troi, Bride, Cassidy, Danielle Yates. That's a mouthful. Caldos IV Crusher, Off Duty Janice Rand, as well as others. Those all scream romantic to me.
Definitely.
They did have one romantic bonus last year, but Ben also talked about that. One of their considerations is bonus pool. How many crew can we have? 5 is too small, 300 is too much. So I think right now we have about 140 romantics. So they might think that's too many, and so they did a little left turn there. But it just, those crew choices scream romantic to me.
I mean, if you're saying that, they're doing the standard sort of 1.5 faction, so one faction event plus half in a hybrid.
Yeah.
So, I think with the pool size, that matters less than if you were going to throw a few more factions in there, maybe. But let's have a look at the man himself. Sorry.
Well, hold on, because I want to talk a little bit more about this mega event. Nifty Mittens took the words out of my mouth. I look at it the same as the disco-themed mirror mega. Now, that one had a little twist because they just released the mirror collection. They wanted to get, I think, a little bit of data on, can we sell these crew now, these mirror packs, the discounted packs. So that one definitely had a little carrot on the stick there. This one, though, I'm not seeing the impetus behind trying to sell you scoundrels. Like, is that a thing? Is there a collection coming that I'm not aware of? Maybe that's next month. But and we did already have a scoundrel mega with the last Q mega. So this being another, I don't know if this will be Q themed, but Q being the recurring mega is sort of a Nippon deja vu. We're getting another Q scoundrel mega. So, I don't necessarily hate it, but it feels it doesn't quite match up with the romantic crew that we're apparently getting.
Speaking of the event, Q Hefner himself, or Lothario Q, if you want to use his formal title, Dip Med Command, same set of skills as Bridal Troi in a slightly different order. He's got the sort of less useful, more common Dip Med, very similar to...
I have a very particular set of skills.
I will find you and assimilate you.
I wish I could do... What's his name?
Well, Liam Neeson.
That actor. Thank you. Yeah. He announced he's retiring from action films.
He's coming back to Star Wars. Sorry.
Probably for the best. What is he, 68 now?
Yeah,
he's 68. So hats off to him. He did a few great movies over the years, maybe more than a few, but
The
I guess
Phantom
he's hanging up
Menace.
his maybe the best
The appearances he had in the Clone Wars. Anyway.
The first Taken was actually, that wasn't bad. I don't know how many they milked out of it, 3 or 4, but
It was 3, yeah.
the first one he dragged that almost to cult status better than it had any business being, because it wasn't a great movie overall, but like him in it was good enough. So
It was that kind of era of Taken and John Wick, and that kind of era of people who are in their sort of early 50s, kind of like, we're rugged, aged action heroes, was definitely a trend for a while, so I can see how it played.
we're still getting roided up, juiced up Stallone at like pushing 70, and he's doing action movies still.
Damn
so.
straight. You can't understand
People
what he
like
says,
that
but you love what he does.
All right, Lothario Q.
Sorry, if you're seeing me grimace a
pretend
little bit, I've got this beer which I didn't actually expect to be drinking, but I just opened it. It's actually called Pineapple Milkshake IPA, and it just threw me by complete surprise. It's very strange. Anyway, Lothario Q, please.
So my old fleet. This is going to be I'm going to pick up tangents since Stars isn't here.
Oh yeah.
I met up in Stuttgart, Germany, with my old fleet admiral, and he's a part-time bartender. So he knows his drinks. So we ended up getting tanked, and then we went to a Ethiopian restaurant, and the food was fantastic. My wife was with us, and we all shared it. A big old table of food.
So we get the pitchers, and you grab it with your hand and eat it that way.
Yeah, most of the night was a blur, but I do remember we ordered three beers each. They were supposed to be authentic African beers. One was coconut, one was mango, and one was something else. They were the worst beers I've ever had in my life. Oh, they were so bad. I wanted to evacuate them from my system, but since he and I don't get together very often, we agreed, okay, we'll finish these three and then see what we go from there. So I think that sort of ended the night. But
I mean, I'll take a pineapple beer because I've had grapefruit beer before. The BrewDog do a nice one, but pineapple milkshake in of it is a bit weird. It's okay, I can get through it. If you see me sort of gagging at the end, it might be there, but.
I like the citrus in my beers.
Yeah,
sure.
that's not there we go. Beer chat. We should just do that on. This hasn't got a pant rating, unfortunately. It is 5.3%, but I think my other one I'm drinking here does have a pant rating, or it did.
I actually looked that up. Apparently, that has to do with recycling.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, this one is 2 pant. It's not 4 pant. It's 2 pant. So yeah, we'll keep to that. Anyway,
some kind of recycling. I don't know.
That's how interesting this set of crew is. Anyway, Q Hefner, Dip Med Command, slightly different order to Bridal Troi. I nearly said Bridal Keiko then. We're getting too many Bridal crew. I'm getting them mixed up. He is not too impressive voyage ranking, and it is a skill set that we have seen many times before, but especially like Q God and various other Soji Asher, both mega recurring crew. But I sort of looked at him at first and just went, really, for a mega crew? But I think you and Namer came across a bit of utility use of him.
Well, yeah. So the base and voyage numbers are not good. I mean, they're sort of average-ish for voyage power, but that's not what you want from a new crew. That's something you expect from a crew that's been around for a few years. But the trying to think of the poison pill in the well. No, that makes absolutely no sense. The kicker here is the gauntlet utility. He has a pretty good, I think it's number 14 diplomacy roll. Now, if you've been playing any length of time, you've probably seen those 65% Q gauntlets with the scoundrel, crafty, costumed, or whatever they are. And he does qualify for that. He has a 65% and a 45% gauntlet. So you can use them there. Knock around bartender Guinan or whatever other dip med possibilities are out there. So, but he's not overwhelming. He's not a Red Angel. He's not a Locutus, which I think is great because that's what you want for a crew that everybody is going to get a copy of for free. You don't want to see walls everywhere. If it's a wall for 1 or 2 gauntlets, that's fine. You can re-roll, work around it or whatever. But that utility there, I think, perks him up, helps make up for maybe some raw power deficiencies elsewhere. So. Because of the fusion level, because of the gauntlet ability, I think almost everyone will get some use out of them, but the power isn't quite there for, I think, pretty much all the other 2020, those 6 mega crew would be better in those base voyage areas of the game. So
I think even got I haven't got stats here, but Q has got he's got, I think he's voyage rank 142 and he's voyage rank 155. So bear in mind when Q as God was introduced, he was, a fairly decent card, and obviously over time he's actually dropped, and then Q Hefner's sitting underneath him already, so there's already the element of, okay, so he's not going to be a Voyager, for sure.
That's sort of the theme of next week's crew, is like, these are the crew that you won 2.5 years ago, and they're the same stats, and it's like, well, okay, I'll still get use out of them, but I want to invest in something that excites me, not something that I already have on my roster.
However,
I said, this is fantastic for new players because you absolutely need gauntlet help early on. And for, I don't know, players that have been playing less than a year, he might be an everyday gauntlet ad for you. So that's definitely nice. And you shouldn't see walls of him. So that's nice too.
I am all for having crew on my roster just wearing bathrobes. Just if I can get everyone in a bathrobe. Fantastic, especially
maybe they can pay dilithium, pay 500 dilithium to double your bridge crew slots, so you can have 8 crew and take a photo instead of 4.
I can definitely see some vanity for that. Also, this week we might as well, since we're here, talk about the super rare, the first super rare. Oh, hang on, what's going on? The first super rare for this mega is Off-Duty Janice Rand, who I've not really looked too much into the stats of, so I'm kind of hoping you have. But Dip Command Engineering, again, we're going to talk about super rare ranks. It's a bit common.
Actually, you did have something that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, I did.
Do you remember what it was?
Let's remember what episode she is from. This is from the Charlie X episode. Often a little bit of an awkward one with the inference of certain mature themes and the time it was recorded. A slightly awkward thing, she has the prisoner trait, which I find a little bit on the nose because, okay, she was accosted by Charlie X in that episode, but I don't know. Something about that seems a little bit wrong. Gameplay-wise, means very little. In fact, I've just changed her stats accidentally to 93 because that's what I was doing on my keyboard at the time. But yeah, gameplays-wise, she doesn't have a lot going for her with it. But it's sort of, if they're talking about a big trait audit, which we will talk about in a second, inferring that kind of sexual assault in the episode in the prisoner trait is a little on the nose. I think for me, others might disagree, but.
Well, to my memory, I think that comes because he sort of took the whole ship hostage at the end, like when he wasn't getting his way, and he was realizing his powers and he threw a tantrum. Now, Charlie X is a crew that was set to be an event crew back in 2016, I want to say, early on in the game. I think they even had the art worked up. I don't know if it appeared in game or not, but then they ran into rights issues, as memory serves, and so they couldn't release them. So I think this is probably the first crew from that episode since then. We have the one where Kirk is in the gym working out and sparring with some other red shirt, and he's got those bright red pants, and he's topless. Now I would shell out for that, Kirk, but I think outside of Charlie X, who didn't quite
hang on, I can hear stars running back to the show now. Hang on.
Outside of Charlie X, who didn't quite make the cut, I think this is the first crew from Charlie X. So. Yeah, the big hair, that great pink robe. I think a lot of people will just want her for the art. As for gameplay, there's really nothing particularly unique or useful from her. Newer players will get a competent Voyager, 3 copies of. Hold on, this is going to be the faction, right? I knew this would trip me up. This would be next
this
week.
is the skirmish.
Well, either way,
is the faction
copies,
coming up? Yeah, this will be for the skirmish, so you'll get 3 or 4. Either way, if you do faction or skirmish, but yeah,
she's someone. If you're very new, maybe you want to throw a side on her. That's fine, but for long-term players, I don't think there's much there. She doesn't get events really, and prisoner artist or a few traits that might hit, but freeze and forget. I think in most cases,
definitely. I think it'll be one that. If you're going to spin some recaps just to finish those super rares, that's probably the best way you can use her. I think like last week with Dexter Merrick, I kind of looked at it and went, nah, I'm going to airlock him because I don't want to spend the 650 dilithium just to get that last copy just to freeze him. I'd rather have the honor, but at least this time you can do some recaps, which tend to be quite fair and a bit looser on the goal. Well, personal objective bias, I'm not confirming that in any degree, but I've had some very good luck with recaps. Shall we?
I realize we sort of skipped over the event order for the Mega, which is something I wanted to talk about.
Oh, yes, please do.
And it seems strikingly similar to one we had recently. Sorry I didn't look it up ahead of time, but
I will have a look.
It's sort of ideal for me personally. You have skirmish first, gives you a chance to level all of your scoundrels that you pull out, and then a week and a half of faction. You have a faction galaxy. You can get that 4/4 in week 2. Right off the bat for free, maybe level them up factions, so you can use all of those crew that you leveled up, and then Galaxy at the end. By then, you should have your 4/5 or 5/5 Q Hefner, and him being having those bigger stats, you will crit in the Galaxy more. You'll maybe save a few chronotons that way if you try to go thresholds and out. So that sort of order works for me very well. Outside of my wonderful 4 factions in a row idea, that might be my ideal for a Mega.
No, you want skirmish, level your crew, 3 factions. Yeah, that's what your ideal. Skip the galaxy, never mind that. But no, I agree with you. I think having the skirmish first is kind of always ideal because it gives you a chance to go, right, what scoundrels or whatever trait crew do I have? Right, I can level them up in the skirmish and then take them to field. So yeah, this is a nice order. You've got your little bit of everything in there, haven't you? Rather than half a faction and all galaxies.
Yeah. The faction being the first 2 days of the month-long event, and then you never use the other crew.
No.
That I don't think players appreciate that.
No. So yeah, this is close.
The last line of this announcement: we hope that you'll take part in taming ... Q's passion! ! You can just tell they wanted to be a little Randy too, and they decided to try to bring it back a little.
Every night when you're around. Oh, I should have got the clip of Patrick Stewart on Love Boat.
Oh, have you seen that Love Boat TNG?
Yeah, that was the one I meant.
Where they the blind engineer. That is so good. Love Boat theme is a classic. Yeah, I could listen to that.
That kind of era of sort of 80s sort of. I'm going to put this on the background. Turn the lights down low. Oh yeah, Barry White. Yeah.
That son is how you were conceived. How many ankle biters are you up to? 2?
Ankle biters? Oh, yeah, a few.
You got a few.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get this quickly back on topic before we get too indulged in our 80s passions. One of the updates, which we're going to talk about in a minute, we'll come around to it, but you wanted to have a chat about the trait update, since we mentioned it a few crew ago, how Wicked Realm Games put an update out saying we've had a big revamp of traits to come as part of our new feature, which we'll go into in a minute, the Crew Retrieval. I imagine is coming into it. But they've switched a few things around. They've removed a few traits. They've added a few to some seemingly... I'm not going to say it random, because obviously there's a bit of purpose and design there, but I think you wanted to talk a little bit about that. I say talk.
I'm thinking it's because you said something that... I mean, I was going back and forth on this, and I think it sums it up nicely. They are doing this for game purposes, probably related to this new crew retrieval system, rather than doing it for accuracy, because a lot of these are not necessarily accurate, or rather not consistent. Now, this comes on the heels of a 6-pack crew, Heist Bashir, who we'll get to in a little bit, who does not have the physician trait. And you can say, fine, he was in the holodeck, he wasn't in sickbay working or whatever, but he's one of only 2 Bashirs who don't have that trait. The other one is Mirror Bashir, who you can say he was a fighter, he wasn't the same person. But I mean, there's Bashir, Julian Bashir, there's RAF Bashir, they're holodeck gallivanting characters too, but they have that physician trait. So for this to come on the heels of yet another trait inconsistency and saying, well, we're prioritizing this now. It's like, well, are you, or is this a set up a revamping just for this new feature? Which, if it is, fine. I mean, any progress is great.
I think they did specifically say that, if I'm not remembering, somewhere in the announcement they said, yes, the upcoming trait is related to the crew retrieval feature. So I think that might be something to do with it, but it's interesting.
In the suggestion forum or suggestion sub forum on Wicked Realm Games forums, it's been running for like 3 years now, and it's, I don't know, 50 pages long or something, and it's all of these trait inconsistencies. This crew's missing this, and a lot of them that have been agreed upon, vetted. I mean, you have dialogue in games saying, like, literally naming the trait, and still these crew don't have it. So it's like, they're asking for feedback now on their forums. So, of course, go and add that if this is something that interests you. But it's like they made so many changes, but it's so many more obvious ones yet to go. So I hope this is part of a rollout, a 12-step process as they try to get back on the road to trait consistency. But it's like it's not doing a ton for me.
Well, hang on a minute. They did remove Trill and Ambassador from 1-star Riker. He is no longer a Trill. So that's fine. That excuses everything.
Removed Brat from Q Junior. Like, that's their priority list. We got to get rid of Brat and, a few other ones.
That my dreams of a Brat Mega are with Wesley and Echem and Q Junior.
No, I will say overall I'm very happy, and I hope they don't stop, because there's a lot of, you and I, Stars, we're nerds. We care about the episodes and the characters and all that, and maybe gameplay secondary. So I've often wondered for balance reasons if they don't do it. One of my personal hills to die on is Trelane having duelist trait, which he literally duels with antique pistols. You'd think that's a shoe-in, but that's also a trait that comes up a lot in the gauntlet, and that would bump up the number of 45% sets he would get. I think it would give him another 65% set. So if you want to say, as a company, look, for balance reasons, that's why we make some changes. That's fine, but I don't think I've ever seen them make such a claim. So if they are going for accuracy, there are tons and tons they could do. But even some of the ones they make, like they added Klingon 2, Klingon Bride Jadzia, which I think is great if you're working with the culture and the rituals and that you want to give it to them, that's fine. But they didn't give it to Determined Paris, who's holding the bat left, fighting for the honor of his wife, in a battle to the death. So like, you want to tell me one is Klingon, one's not? Same with bring this guys Dukat and Kira. They put on the refrigeration suits to go break into the prison, and then they take the helmets off, and then that's like the end of that scene. And they're Breen now.
They are Breen.
So it's like, if you want to give it to them for just wearing the uniform, why not make sure that is, pardon the pun, uniform across all crew who are like that? So I guess that's more of my bugaboo, because this is something we've been asking for so long. So, but a lot of the changes they made are pretty spot on, and I just hope that they can continue with that.
It's a funny one because, we had last week randomly Commander Barak having his traits changed. We're like, what the fuck? Why is this just out of the blue? And then all of these happening at once. It was a bit like, did he jump the finish line? Did he get the premium package to get his traits claimed first, and then everyone else had to wait in line? It was why not roll him into these ones? It was a really bit of a
Barak. It's Q Junior's brat trait, and then it's everyone else.
Yeah, yeah. R.I.P. brat trait. We miss you. There was a few others removed as well. I think all the chancellors and presidents and senators are now politicians, so I rolled all those into ones. There's no more lords. Spy has been removed. Warrior from Alaneth. There
are lords, but there's not lords, but there's ladies, right?
I don't know, actually. Is there a lady?
Lady Cirilla.
Lady Cirilla.
No,
oh, okay, right. Sorry, it's a bit slow on the catch on that one. But yes, we've had the big trait update, which might well tie into. Let me bring up the notes for this. The new update, which is coming, 8.0.0 update has been rolled out to Steam and Facebook, which you can see now if you're on those platforms. If not, I think it's being rolled out to Google Play and iOS in the future. But there is coming up is going to be the Crew, which is going to be revealed more next week with Ben. And just FYI, we have no idea more than the announcement than you do. So this is when the announcement came up, that was like, oh, so that's what we're showing. It's very much kind of, oh, okay. Right. Sort of a little bit wind out of the sails, like, oh, we're getting excited to see what he's going to... Oh, right, okay, fine. Anyway, so Crew Retrieval, and I'm going to read the exact words here. This feature will provide you with the means to have more agency to target, and this is in bold, target specific crew you want and add them to your roster, something that has been long requested. So this is going to be a new game mechanic in the game that I would imagine, since the trait updates happened, is going to use some form of... since they've balanced that in the same kind of conjunction, I imagine they're going to have some sort of relevance to it. But this will be what Ben is showing us next week on how, I've seen a sort of a fair amount of negativity on Discord and some on the forums as well, as sort of like, oh, this is the new feature. But if you look at the announcement, it doesn't actually tell you a lot about what's going to happen. So there's a lot of unknowns still in this process. We don't know how we get these crew. We don't know what we have to do to... We know there's the two new currencies. We know there's ISM, and we know there's Quantum. So we can only assume they're going to be related. But we don't know how this all relates. So we know there's going to be a way... And I see there's a lot of people that are excited about getting a way to target specific crew. That's a great thing, because no one wants to sort of keep digging into packs and keep buying packs and streaming them just to try and woo, I got shins on.
Really? No one?
No one. Unless you're a true sadist. So
it says on the announcement, as a result, will need to be released in multiple phases. Now, a few weeks ago, Ben did mention that they have additions to this system planned at something like, don't quote me on quoting him, something like 3 months, 6 month benchmarks. Every few months, they might add another component to this feature. So yeah, I mean,
it's yeah.
I have heard the negativity around it, and I understand. People are like, we want something to do with the crew, not just get more crew. But there are also a lot of people who play the collector game, and this for a card collecting game, that's one of the whole point is just to collect more crews. So I understand both parts of it. I don't know if we're going to get anything to actually use the crew at all. Maybe not at the beginning. Maybe they tack something on 6 months from now. But what my personal wish list would be something like away missions or shuttles where you have to use specifically crew to try and gain quantum or whatever, or acquire new crew, something that we can use to broaden our bench of crew. And the fact that they're talking so much about trades, that really gets me thinking, well, maybe you need crew with a specific trait. Like if the mission can only be completed with a gardener, bam, that's a lot of value applied to now Homesteader Janeway and Irumodic Picard and whatever few crew have the gardener trait. So I would definitely love to see more than just spend currency, get crew. That's nice, but when you get those 2 or 3 white whales that you've been after, then what are you doing with those crews? So this is all spitballing. We won't know until next week, but I sure hope there's a component with it that goes along with it where you can use additional crew, and hopefully they find profit in that, recouping, I don't know, something like crew slot sales. If you need another 20 crew active, maybe that helps their bottom line as well.
One of the more sort of common complaints has been crew slots with a lot of people, and I can understand to some degree on limiting that, because obviously if everyone had unlimited crew slots, that sort of eliminates a little bit of the strategy, and I say that through gritted teeth because there isn't much strategy.
That is your 4 factions in a row. People are like, shut the hell up, I don't want to have to deal with crew slots.
Well, no, this is it, because if we're now finding a new way to go, right, I've saved up for 3 months for me to target this specific 5-star, but 3 months later, I've been going for every event and I now have no crew slots to slot them in, but I really want them. And it's it's where you shift your priorities. And that's either down to them to sort of manage as a balance in the game to stop people kind of going, I've got full crew slots, I can't play the game because there's nothing I can do because I've got nowhere to move all these crew onto. Or you kind of go, be ruthless and say, right, I'm just going to keep the crew I like looking at and sod the utility, sod if they appear in a campaign or anything else. So it's a weird... I would like them to come out a little bit more and sort of address the crew slot issue and sort of say, like, this is still going to be a problem for everyone eventually. There's a few sort of, there are players, within the first year of playing that you have a bit more freedom to airlock super rares, but for those of us that pulled hundreds of packs, we're definitely in the sort of the leagues of, I don't want to get rid of Trelane. I like Trelane, but he's functionally useless for me, but... Okay, apart from his gauntlet, all right. Sorry, that was the first name.
You can pick for useless. You picked Trelane. Are you kidding me right now? Like, you just got off-duty Janice Rand, and you want to tell me that's more useful to you than Trelane?
What tier is he?
He's tier 1. Fuck off.
Anyway, yes. So yeah, that's coming. As well, and I'm going to have to do this a little bit on the fly because I didn't prepare a pre-show, but I can actually show you some of the new features that are in the version 8. So vamp for me a little bit, auto, please, because I just need to set this up.
So one of the big new additions is it's called Manifest. And if you've been on the forums or Discord...
Manifest! That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, you will have seen this icon. No, it basically pulls... You have that little menu in the upper right that had, exit game, contact support, cryostasis, inventory, etc. They moved a bunch of those buttons down to the crew panel. Right. So it says here on their announcement, accessing your crew, ships, inventory, cryostasis vault, and later on crew retrieval.
And this is one of, just for clarification, this is one of the alts that I've long neglected, so don't judge me on my continued voyage and shuttles and messages and stuff. I don't look at this one, but it's on Steam, so... Anyway, so yeah, we've got this manifest button here that has cryostasis vault, like you said, and the other ones, and apparently crew retrieval is going to be going sort of at the top of this list here. I have seen a few complaints about, and especially when people, when the Event Hub first came out, we sort of looked and thought, oh, that's right, it's another click, okay, fine. But this is a bit more of an impactful another click, because how many times do you click on your crew in a session on, when you're looking at it? It's the first thing you tap, really, when you get into the game.
I open the crew panel more than all of those other buttons combined times 20 in a day. So it's... This one irritates me. The Event Hub were like, well, just wait. They're going to add more to it. This one is like it bugs me because it says we're going to add Crew Retrieval. Fine. On the current/last client, the one that people have been playing on for however many months, there's when you open the menu in the upper right, there are spaces for 9 little buttons. And depending on what platform you play on, there's either 8 of those filled or 7 of those filled. So they have another space there. So, it's like they're creating a solution for a problem that doesn't exist, sort of. Like if you're going to add multiple game modes or something, and because you want the buttons to be big enough for mobile users to have easy time tapping on them, and you don't want to cover the whole screen, fine. This is like a different way to do that. But for me personally, if they only add one thing in this crew manifest, that's going to annoy the hell out of me, because tapping twice to go to the crew thing, I mean.
I would rather they put it in daily missions. I'd rather that be
7 days a week, not just the Event Hub where you only look at it, 4 days out of the week. So
I would rather if they've moved it over one, they can say, right, you can either go, when you click the daily missions button, you go to, daily missions, campaign achievements, or cryostasis inventory or shipyard, because of the
right.
you kind of go there, at the most, every time you complete something, usually in the mornings when you've finished all your sort of achievements. But yeah, definitely crew is the one that I wish they hadn't sort of expanded that, because you're here all the time, especially during a skirmish. You're going to be in and out of this section all the time.
Both daily missions and then that upper right menu, they have the space already, like built in. So for them to add a bunch of stuff to the crew panel, it's like, at best, it's the same number of clicks for things like ships and inventory, but then you're always paying one more for to get to the crew panel, which is the most used one. So it's like, maybe it all comes together. Like the Event Hub, like I said, it did enough to justify that extra click because of the getting things a week early, having time maybe to level crew if they had packs. But this one, I'm not seeing it. So if they do something in a few weeks, month time that makes sense to me, then I'll backtrack. But as it stands now, I'm not a fan.
No. And to Phil says, has the video record gone? This is the Steam version of the game, so I don't think that ever had the video record button on it. I believe the Android and the iOS do, but this one never did. So because you can do that within.
Yeah, and I think like the Facebook version doesn't let you switch accounts or something like that, or not after the first login. So depending on which platform you use, the buttons are a little different. But
do you know what is one of the best features of this? Is something they didn't even announce. So we've got Crew Retrieval coming. You've got this new manifest icon. We've got the Event Hub is now showing, and I'll just show that here, is now showing next week's event with hopefully some packs at some point. But do you know what the best feature is, which wasn't even announced? They bloody fixed the event. Oh, where's it gone? They fixed the event. It's here. It's bloody in the manifest. I couldn't find it. They fixed the inventory. At long last, the thing that people have actually been asking for the longest time, we can now see actual names of the items we're chucking into the airlock or the replicator, and we can also search for things. That is by far... Oh, I haven't got any holo programs.
Now, maybe you can check. I don't have it open. I think you can search for it if you're in inventory, but not once you go to chuck stuff into the replicator.
Let me try this now.
Can you check that?
Yeah, let's have a look. So
once you go to replicate something,
okay, so you
the
can't...
search bar's not there?
The search bar's not there, but you can still see names of things. So that's,
right.
Okay, not ideal, but still... Oh, hang on, it's chugging now.
910 items. You're such a pack rat.
This is the alt, so I don't do a lot on this one apart from just chug golds away.
This is a really great change. And give a moose a muffin, he's going to want a cookie, or however that phrase goes. The next thing that follows is I would love a way to make multiple replicator rations at the same time.
Yeah.
Because right now, you hunt and pack and you make one, and then fine, you go open the inventory again and do it all over again. So it's a great improvement for sure. And I think the next thing that logically follows is being able to replicate multiple rations at once, which, I mean, you'd be able to clear out your inventory in a few minutes rather than a few hours.
But they didn't announce it. Like, at least, unless I'm missing something, but there's nothing to say,
Hey,
we fixed it.
I'm glad, you know.
Oh, I'm happy.
Under promise, over deliver. That's...
These are the one thing out of everything. Even the probably new feature, I'm more excited the fact that I can clear out a lot of the crap in my inventory quite easily, or find out how many holo programs without having to search through a ton of other useless items that I can't read, or get confused that it's not bloody Flotter and the Magic Tree holoprogram or the Battle of Britain that I'm accidentally putting on whoever.
Now, are you working through the Steam client right now?
I am working through Steam, yes.
Okay, so one of the other additions, they made several additions with this client update, is seeing crew details.
Oh,
and
yes.
You'll know the stats from level 1 or from 1 star to fully fused. You also see ship information, etc.
So let's go.
Now, that's something that they had to roll back, I think, just today, because they were having issues. Players were not able to thaw crew from cryostasis. So they did roll it back on Steam, and I think maybe one other platform.
Yeah.
So we may not see more of that for a while, but that's something that's coming.
They only rolled that back when you're viewing the crew from the cryostasis vault, not from from the event. So if we go into the cryostasis vault here, and apologies to podcast listeners, this is a bit more. So if I was to click on EDF Adira, I can't see the stats, or let's see, find someone I do have. They have rolled that back. But if you go to the event hub, and we'll go to Bridal Troi here, we can go full stats. We can see fully equipped, fully fused, level 100. Now this is base, this is not boosted, so this is not your star base boost, so she will be, or the crew will be bigger once you actually get them on your roster. But you can see all the ship abilities, so that's really nice. I think for a lot of the people who play it a bit more casually, who don't go to the forums or check the announcements, or probably just delete every mail they get, this is, they can finally go, oh brilliant, this is what they're going to be like, and they go, well, what does this mean?
Now, I do have to say, this is sort of a 2-step forward, 1 step back, because in the current / old version of the client, when you look at crew and cryostasis, you'll see them with your bonuses. So you can make an apples to apples comparison, say, who do I want to thaw? Are they better than who I already have out in my active roster? Now, in this update, they are all base stats in cryostasis. So you don't know necessarily at a glance whether these crew are going to be a higher base than who you have out. Maybe you either need to go back to your crew panel with an extra click and open their information to see their base stats, or bust out a calculator or something. So I would like to see apples to apples, if they can use your bonuses that you have in cryostasis. That would make it much easier to tell, am I going to thaw this crew, or do I not need them this week?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was just looking over that now that, you go into the cryostasis and looking at, where's he gone? Yeah, looking at bones. 1690 here, and this is just on the default view, which they roll back, and then going into my actual game eventually with a few more clicks and looking at him. Where's he gone? Oh no, don't press that button. Honor can be earned from crew dismissal. I know that. Thank you. That's also another feature that they're going to tell you where you can get the crew from. So they're an honor hall crew. I think they'll have a little button that says go to the honor hall. If they're on limited time offer packs, they'll tell you that too. Now, noticeably, if a crew is in the general portal, they'll say the crew is not obtainable yet, which doesn't quite make sense, because you can go get them in the regular portal. But I can understand, like, if there's 900 crew in the portal, maybe you don't want to send players there and say good luck, have fun fishing. Which So I think they're going to integrate it based on something else I read in the announcement. I think they're going to integrate it with this new crew retrieval system. So, since you're supposed to be able to target the crew you want, I think there's going to have some functionality tie in there where the little thing underneath will say, go here to try to crew retrieval or whatever, to try to find this specific crew. So I think that's something else that the functionalities we're still waiting on. I am liking how the menu pops in and out. That's quite nice. It doesn't just sort of pop in, it sort of fades in and fades out. I quite like that. That's my favourite bit of the whole thing.
It's like the transporter sliders, right?
Yes, it is actually. Yes, very nice. I hope that was intentional. So yeah, that's the new sort of 8.00 feature, which is now on Facebook and Steam, coming soon to Android. And iOS is always last because I think Apple has a slightly longer approval process. I believe.
All right, so,
yeah, go on.
So give me a 1 to 10 on this the update. But between the manifest and the inventory and the crew stats and that whole UI change, give me a 1 to 10.
I would give it if we're including everything, I'd probably say an 8 because inventory is great, seeing stats is brilliant. Those are two possibly essential things that people want for a long time. The thing that stops it scoring 2 points is where they've put the crew panel, I would say. What about you? What would you put it?
Well, pretty much the same. I'd give it a 7. 2 points off for the crew click. That's going to bother the heck out of me. Maybe they prove us wrong later on and there's some great functionality tie-in. And then just being able to replicate in bulk would be really fantastic, even if it's just making rations. So I think if they can fix those two things, everything else looks really great. And yeah, I mean, we got this inventory update. What was the beginning of last year? And people are like, "Oh, I was expecting, so much more," and they kept working on it. And I think this has been a big improvement.
Yeah, I am seeing a problem with the crew stats though. I'm seeing a really big problem. I'm not seeing a tier on here. They've missed that. There's no tier 3, tier 4. It's not here.
I can't tell. There's so many times I wanted to just go in and change it all to tier, whatever's good on your roster, and just
You decide. I don't care.
Yeah, have fun reading through 1,000 crew notes to figure out how good they are relative to other crew.
Okay. Where are we? So, I think
there's a lot of stuff, man. We're like, we're just, we're gonna get ready for this feature reveal next week. It'll probably be a slow thing, and then they're like, here's a big new client update. So.
Yeah, we're just gonna talk about Sub Rosa for an hour. I mean, we're halfway there at the start, but
thank God we didn't have to do that reading. Because I would have
I was
been
prepared to
Ronin,
be Crusher, and you would be Ronin. Like that was.
And
no,
we would pay stars to come be Crusher's grandma or something. It would have been epic.
It would have been fantastic. Where are we this week? Yes, we have missed out the Tuesday crew this week. We suppose we should give a little mention to. And let me just find out a way of closing. Actually, and I'll tell you what I have to show you first. I bought a new T-shirt today. Look at this. There's the vest. Live long and prosper. I love it. And this is why I'm equally annoyed that we don't have any lower decks in the game. Anyway, this week's Tuesday pack is...
Why do you do this to yourself?
Why do I do I don't know. Heist Bashir is part of the Bada Boom Tuesday pack this week. He is the super rare card, and I've brought up the wrong screen, but never mind. He is... There we go. He is Psi Med Sec. Interestingly enough, there are various evolutions of Psi Med Sec, but in that particular order, he is the only one, which surprised me because I thought there was at least someone like RAF Bashir would have been that. But no, he is the only Psi Med Sec. He is number one. He is the best and the worst in that category. However, super rare crew, a fairly decent spread of, all this Lemon milkshake beer is coming up now. He has a fairly decent spread of traits and skills, but he, like you say, he doesn't have the physician trait, which is interesting. But
yeah, it's just to me that's an oversight. Like you give him a med secondary, you give all the other versions. Even Prince Bashir, who was in Originals, and he's based on Dorian Martell, his Game of Thrones character. He has a physician, so it's like if you're gonna give him to Bashir's, just give him to Bashir's. Like. You only need 25 to complete it, and there's like 80 in the game anyway. So it's not going to impact much. Just try to keep it consistent. Beyond that, the Gambler trait I quite interests me, partly because I think all the Rikers have them, which I just like playing with my Rikers. No, how can I phrase this? I just think that's a cool trait. The story writes itself. I think there's 63 or 64 of them in the game. If we ever get some events, that would be neat. To do some gambling. And the other thing that caught my eye is hilariously, his ship ability is called "And I Slip Ipecac into Howard's Drink." I think he only had like 2 lines in that whole episode, so they're like, "Well, we'll just go with this one."
It's bizarre. It just I spoke to you before the stream. I was just thinking it just reminds me of just the way it's said is just like Patrick Stewart in Extras when he's like, and the wind caught her dress and I saw everything.
It's too late. I've seen everything.
I've seen everything, and I slipped some Ipecac in his drink.
All right. So the big question is are we going to get a Bada Bing Vanity collection?
Well, I mean,
I feel like a very DB Ian move would be to, as soon as this, or like a week after this pack goes off sale, add the Vanity and be like, sorry, suckers, if you didn't pull on it, you're going to have to wait a year and a half for him to enter the portal again. So I could see that happening, which would really bum me out because I'm going for all the collections I can. But it's like, you know, who knows? That their focus lately has been collections, so I could definitely see it happening. But
it's
it would
interesting
be
because,
in bird culture a dick move if they pulled this pack and then put up a collection shortly thereafter. So
nice Rick and Morty reference there. I think like when we were speaking to Ben a few weeks back and talking about collections and traits especially, I think he was sort of saying on the lines of in the future, or collections that are easy to update and to add are ones that are visible traits in the game, not the invisible ones. So ones like what's the one in the game at the moment? Armand Bashir, very hard one. Well, I say very hard, it's hard to decide whether it's hard or low priority, or, it's not as easy for them to just add the trait and then automatically in game to be added to the collection. So there is no Bada Bing trait that they can pull on to say, right, put them in this collection automatically. So it would be a manual thing. So I'm inclined to say they wouldn't.
And they can add an invisible trait. In fact, when I first noticed, datacore.app will show you invisible traits in the game, the ones that you can't sort by. So like if we have a Picard event coming up and you type in Picard, you're going to see your Galen and the ones that won't show in cryostasis. And so we first got wind of the EV suit collection because it popped up in Datacore, and I was looking at some crew and I noticed, EV suit trait, invisible trait. I don't remember that. And then like 2 days later, the collection came out. So yeah, they could add, Bada Bing invisible trait or whatever and do that. But we'll see. I think a lot of people would like it. It's a very fun episode, and they have 7 or 8 of those crew and get waitress Ezri.
They do. Some of them are in this pack this week.
Gates and Nog and Ezri. So yeah, they have a lot of crew and game, and it would be cool. But if they do it hot on the tails of the pack disappearing, that but whatever.
I think they should do it the other way around. Got a new collection, and here's the pack to collect the crew. So I don't,
I mean,
it should be that way. But
it's bulb faced either way. But then at least players who are interested have a chance at it.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, they all end up in the portal eventually. I don't know. I like Safecracker Nog. He was a Tuesday pack. And he also turned up in an event as the ranked reward, which interested me. I was like, I want to get him because he's, for some reason, it's Nog. And I've got this chance now because he's not going to be in the portal for God knows when, because we don't have scheduled portal updates. So, we'll see on that one. That would be an interesting one. I kind of doubt it just because of Ben's comments, and like we've been seeing a lot of larger. No, actually that's not right, because we've seen Q collection, we've seen EV suit collection, so that's not even right. God knows, I don't know.
By the way, the Q continuum still needs 1 gold to finish. We will be getting Q Hefner coming up. So if you've been waiting and you thought maybe I should cite Quinn, well, maybe this crew with only 1 star will be an easier choice for you.
There's plenty of Q. There's a lot of Q.
That's an excellent pun, my friend.
Yes. I'm channeling big McLarge Huge here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Q. Okay.
Something I think we forgot in our notes.
Ooh.
Shame on us. I wanted to do a little Dabo sale retrospective.
Oh, that's a very good idea.
And I collected several quotes of players, their feedback afterwards of what they thought of the whole thing. So while I'm rambling this off, chat, here's your chance. Jump in. Tell me, who did you run Dabo for? Who did you see? How many times did Captain Scott, one skill Captain Scott, pop up? And did you curse the heavens? So a few of these comments I'll just read off quickly. Ultimately, I didn't have a good selection during the sale, but I still really enjoyed it. Someone else said, overall, it was just sad for me. I love the idea of doing a Dabo sale for credits, maybe from time to time, question mark. But I feel like it's only benefits bigger or older players who just don't know what to do with all the credits because they don't need them anymore. Someone else said, the sale was a disaster for me. I started out with over 120 million credits, and I'm left with 118 million credits after buying a single Dabo table. Someone else said, I loved it. I didn't get each possibility, but so what? We had random options and could get what we wanted. I know that not everyone could spend every day, but we could do far more than normal. Someone else said, I think my overall impression is that this was a great idea with bad execution. What was your experience with it, Idle?
I had enough credits to do one run, so it was interesting when he, we had a little bit of overhype with it because, Ben came on the show and he said, a Dabo sale like no other, where it could have been nice if, no criticism, Ben, you have your own limits to what you can tell us and everything, but it'd be nice to just say, you're going to be Daboing with credits, like, okay, I'll save up. Fine. But, so I had enough to do one run, so I was sort of like looking to see what I would do, and my criteria was like, it would have to be someone that I really want, so it'd have to be like a Socrates or a Mukbar Crusher, or not just a heavy hitter, or just someone that, appealed to me at the time, but I got either crew I had no stars on that were crap. I mean, this is just the way of the Dabo. It's random. It comes up. It's not anyone you have. It's just anyone, and essentially anyone, not just in the portal, everyone ever. But either I had them as 0 to 5, 0 stars, or I had them fully fused. I had one that wasn't, and that was Tuxedo Nog, and that wasn't enough for me to go, yeah, I'll go for it, because you never know who you get tomorrow. So I didn't bite in the Dabo sale. I didn't even spin once, but it would have been nice to have a little more preparation for it. It was okay. I wouldn't say it was a Dabo sale like no other. It was credits instead of dilithium. It was
different. We've never seen anything like that.
It was an interesting experiment, and I liked it because I think if they do it again, which I hope they will, I think everyone will be in a better position to go for it.
I mean, we were spitballing ahead of time. What if they put a purple citation on the top row instead of a purple crew? What if they put a gold citation as the reward? What if there's 5 crew slots? I'm sure there's limitations to what they can code, but they were like, oh, we have all these great ideas. It's like, no, it's just credits instead.
It's credits.
Which is fine. Personally, I got 5 of the crew were 2 skillers who I didn't want. 1 was Captain Scott. And then 2, I think had 3 skills, and the one I bid on was Juliana Taylor. So I had enough credits to run it a few times, but it was, I think, 7 disappointments and 1 pull for me. So that's better than the can of beans that Dabo table normally is. And we'll see if they do that again.
I think it added a little bit more spice to it, which was nice because Dabo you kind of just look at and you go, oh, there's that crew, spin once, off I go. It was nice to kind of actually look at it in a new light and think, oh, what do I want on here? Because even if, say you're a new player or you're just interested in spending credits for the items just to add, because people that know me know I never level anyone, but I have everyone available on the Dabo. I could run the table and equip about 10 people, or however many it is, 8 people. So there's that element of it. There's new players that want to get ships, which is the best way for getting 5-star ships if you need them. So it's a good idea. Just I think needs a little bit more sort of warm up to say, like Ben said, save your packs because there's going to be a pack change. Well, save your credits. Maybe there's this.
Let's get to hoarding in a second because this does have implications beyond just this last week. But let's see what chat had. Stephen in Cinna, I ran it for Eevee Suit Wharf, a dupe. So you pulled Eevee Suit Wharf, got him, and fused him up right away. And it's nice that you have them. I think someone saw Caldos Crusher in there before she was
a VIP 0,
released.
I think.
Yeah, so that was probably a nice get for them. Fifth star on Luau Paris, which was nice. Yeah, I've been holding off on citing him, but I would have definitely run the table for that. Skycap, where are we? I bought 3 of the 8 crew. That's a good haul. Mountain Mayweather, Stranded Quark, and Gladiator Spock. Those are some good crew. That's probably the best run that I've seen of anyone. I would have taken Captain Scott over Mugato and the other crew I was offered. Sorry, Ryan. That's
Gumato.
I appreciated the credit Dabo sale, even though there wasn't good crew for me. Yeah, do you think we're going to get another one?
I hope so.
If you just had to guess. And would it be in 2021?
Maybe not this year. I think they might do it next year. Or, I mean, if we're looking at the same kind of logic as honor sales, maybe we'll get another one August, September, maybe. I don't, it's such a new thing that we can't predict it, but I hope they do. I do hope they do. And I will be ready.
Sunkatse siete. I bought them all and fully fused lots of purples. Yeah, now the algorithm does, I think, choose crew that you have unfused in your active roster. At least that's my experience. So that was nice to not have to, in a lot of cases, because the odds are a little better that you'll get them. You wouldn't have to run the entire table to get some of those purples. Spent all of my credits chasing Mira Saru's 4th star. Crashed out with not enough. Oof. See, now for me, I was not going to take that risk because I knew Dabo was rigged. Apparently, a lot of people didn't know Dabo was rigged because the forums are like, oh, the bottom row's gone first. Well, yes.
Yeah, it is. The odds are not in your favor. Like, to get the gold on that first spin is an insane chance. Like, it is gambling odds. It's not a 0.01% chance or something like that. So, if you're going to run the table, if you get the gold on anything less than the last spin, you've got some good odds. Like, literally. Like, I've seen a few people that got it second to last or third from last, and I'm like, bloody well done. Because that's just getting that is insane.
Skycap says it made Dabo refresh time an exciting time of day. That's true.
Yeah.
For me, that's also Friday when we get discount packs. Sometimes there's a crew I want or some vanity crew that I wouldn't mind pulling on the pack. So
can we just? I'd like to lodge a formal complaint. Can the Friday 490 packs no longer be 6-packs? Because we've had that the last 2 weeks now. We've the Friday for those that don't know, every Friday they put up 2 490 dilithium packs. So it's usually a pack they've run before or an event pack. For a reduced price, which is generally a bit more favourable if you want to target specific crew. And the 3-packs, which is what I and a few others we know as well have done, we sort of go, oh, I need like 2 more stars on Gladiator Spock. Right, there's some good odds here. Not good odds, but there's a good chance I'll get a few stars for a better price than I would usually. Excuse me, bloody milkshake beer. The devil inside me. But yeah, the last 2 lot have just been 6-packs for some horrible crew. Like there's been some good stuff in there, but like we say, don't do 6-packs, not even for 490s. Like, just look at it and go, I can't do it.
One thing you have to appreciate about Dabo is if you have enough to run the table.
Sorry. Go on. No, go on. I thought you were just diverting me. Just like, yeah, enough of you. Talk about Dabo again.
No, I've tried that before. It doesn't work. You're like a lost puppy. You just find your way back to whatever nonsense you're talking. One thing I appreciate is if you have enough credits to run it, to guarantee that you run it, what crew you're getting. Whereas, it's less of a gamble than packs. But let's talk for a minute about hoarding. Because Ben came on the show 3 weeks ago, and said, we don't want players to hoard resources. And we talked about honor sale and stuff. And then the next week, or what was it, 2 weeks later, Dabo sale, where if you want to participate every day, you're looking at 70, 80 million credits. And it's like, I play on that edge and I hate myself for it. I hoard honor. I want the honor sale. I want to be efficient in how I spend it. I
love honor. I demand honor.
Carol.
I hoard, packs for a portal update or right now for the new collections, just so I don't pick one and then miss out on a collection. So I am that guy. I hoard to try to be efficient. And hoarding one more resource is like, I'm going to burn out real soon because you just keep delaying gratification, and you get a hit maybe once, maybe twice a year, and the rest of the time you're just hoarding. And, I get the statement, well, just don't hoard, just spend it. That's fine. But then, the next time it does come around, you're sitting there on the outside looking in, all these people getting great deals and pulling on flashy crew, and you're like, oh, I should have saved. So I think this one is definitely on the company. They are setting up, by the way they structure sales and stuff, they are setting up the expectation of hoard until we give you a great discount. So if they were to, we've been talking a lot about this lately because it does lead to burnout. And rest in peace, Stars and Garters is no longer with us because I think he's feeling a little bit of the burnout. And so it's like, whatever they can do to try to relieve that sort of pressure on players, be like, okay, we're going to cap the honor sale at say 400,000. You can only buy 10 of those behold sight things, and then the rest of the year you can spend honor how you want. Like maybe that's a good compromise. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like encouraging players to hoard yet another resource is
Well, this is
it's not healthy for the game. I don't think it is.
You're right. I mean, when you talk about that, I'm just reminded of the credit Dabo sale. You know it's going to run for 7 days, so you know a cap of how many credits that you will have to save. Like with the, I can stick on something like, what is it, about 100 million credits? Like, okay, it's quite ambitious, but you will get there in about 6 months. And if they're not going to run another Dabo sale till maybe next year or maybe later this year, then it's absolutely achievable. But Honor doesn't really have a cap. It does a little bit. I think it's something like 2.8 million if they run it the previous format and you want to get 10 of those 40,000 packs a day plus your one 10,000 behold. Like it's something like 2.8 million, but that's outrageous. Like no one's going to get that. So, I think, and on top of that as well, like we were speaking earlier, sometimes you can't help but hoard because you don't have anything else to spend it on, because like we said about crew slots, your crew slots are full. You've got nothing to spend. You're thinking, right, okay, I could buy a site and sight up some of these crappy crew, but that just feels like a waste. But I also am a collector. I don't want to, much as it pains me to say, I don't want to airlock Linus Paris because I went through an event to get her, and I also spent dilithium on recaps to get a second, not specifically for her, but I ended up getting a second star. Now that, they put so much show on having legendary crew be an achievement that you feel remiss airlocking them unless they're utter trash like Captain Scott, who I did airlock, or dupes anyway. But, there's a weird sort of balance where they're saying, don't hoard, spend, but also here are these subpar crew that you don't really want but you can't get rid of because you've participated in an event for them, so they're worth something to you, but also here's these sales where you can spend your hoard but not for the things you want. It's really it's a bit conflicting.
It's
so you
can't,
you're stuck in paralysis. It's essentially a paralysis. You're sitting there and going, I'm not going to do anything in my game apart from tap my dailies, just get until something happens that I can spend it the most optimally.
In an ideal world, you would have multiple options and they would all make you feel good. And I think right now we have multiple options and they both make you feel kind of bad. Either you miss out on the big sale or, you're stagnant for 6 months at a time.
We do need a statement.
Now,
we need something
if you're
to say.
spending,
yeah, sorry, go on. I mean, they do need like something to say, like they're not gonna. They're sorry. We keep interrupting.
There's a little bit of a delay. There's a delay.
When they come out and say like we're not going to do honor sales again. If they say that, or they say we're not going to objectively say we're not going to put up on a site again for this price, but they haven't said that, so we don't know. Or if they say yes, we are going to do one and we're going to do it like this, then we can kind of go, right, I am going to have an achievable goal. I will say I will put up, say most people say 400,000 honor or something like that. I will save up to there as a reasonable amount, and anything over that I'll spend. But at the moment we don't know anything, so we're kind of in a little bit of on a limbo, as it were. Sorry, please.
And I can understand from their point of view, they don't want to give, they're not going to say, we're going to have this crew available at this time. We're going to run this pack now, so you can save for that. You can't give that information out, but the sort of paralysis that their choices lead the players to, it's like, that's on them to fix, I think. Now, you can go the very Buddhist route and say, look inside yourself and pick the path that pleases you most. And that's fine, but if that path leads you in 3 months' time to watching everyone else pull discounted beholds and get 20 sites because they saved up for a year, then that's a feel bad thing. And then it's like, I don't know what the answer is, but I would love to have 2-3 options that all feel good, they're all equivalent, rather than damned if you do, damned if you don't. And so this credit Dabo thing is like, this one's not so bad because credits are not terribly impactful. If you saved up 80 million credits and you turned them all in 90,000 packs, you would get on average about 2 big golds. So like you have an option if you want to do that instead of saving for a Dabo sale, which may give you a whole bunch of Captain Scotts. So there's a bit of an option there, but it's just that one more resource to hoard can really psychologically, it impacts your gameplay.
Oh, it's deep, but it is, we talk about these things because we play the games and we, for some reason...
Timelines talk, not timelines games,
But, I think, we've read a lot of the comments. We've seen a lot of what people are saying around, and everyone's in the same kind of position. Yeah, anyone that's been playing long enough is in the same kind of position. We don't want to play in this event because we can't get the crew in our roster. We don't want to spend the honor because we want to spend the honor the way that is the most efficient. I'm at the point in my game where I'm like, I want to buy some 390s in a Mega to fuse crew that aren't great, but they give me a crew slot back. So, but is that a bit sadist, or is that a bit, should I just airlock the crew? But I've collected them and I like them, so I don't know.
I mean, if it makes you feel good to do it, then that's cool, because that's why we're playing games, is to escape, to feel good, not to feel pressure or stress or responsibility or all that other stuff that we have to deal with in our jobs and family and fated Thanksgiving get-togethers. So, if they can find a way to give us multiple options and make you feel good instead of bad, but I'm repeating myself, so, well, maybe we should move on.
We should move on to our last topic today. We have had a write-in, haven't we, and a video sent to us from PrimeRez, who took some... I think we did a site advice show for him recently, which you can see on the YouTube. Sorry, go on.
I know you're switching thoughts intermittently, but you said he took some weed, and it's like...
He probably did. He took some site advice from us, which you can find the site videos on the YouTube channel, which we put together. He probably does do weed. I wouldn't blame him in this climate. But we have a video to show you, which he sent us, of the sites he did. And Otto, do you want to read the message that he sent us? Or they sent us, actually. I'm not assuming gender. I do apologise.
Yes, if I can find it. Where did I put it?
Somewhere. I'm playing the
actually, we've been talking quite a lot lately because, well, these advice shows, especially this last one over the holidays, we were, I think, like 2 months behind on it. So things can move pretty quickly. We got Luau Paris 4 or 5, which was a big thing. We had the sort of double EDF, or the Adira thing, EDF and Adira Towel. But what they sent to me, I guess, for this little video was, I took your advice and upgraded the top 7 characters. I held off on citing Crenham Guests Paris or Chakotay because of Luau Paris. We were talking about the Diplomat collection. I'll also be using 2 more sites for Adira Tal and the Mega. Thanks again so much, and I'm sure I'm looking forward to the honor sale as much as you guys are. Now, I'm assuming it's on the video, but this poor fellow has over 1 million honor, and he's on his tippy toes just as we are, straining to see if that honor sale is around the next corner. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're going to continue to do these going forward, because it's sort of a bear to sync up 3-4 different time zones for the recording, but it has been fun to look through all these rosters, see how people construct their crew lineups, and I asked him how his collections are going. He's almost to the 60 tier of Chomrakta, so that's pretty darn good progress on the collection. So.
No, definitely. We're just seeing him level up in sight. Luau Paris, Bridge Officer number 1, Leonardo da Vinci. He's now doing Baul, Wrathful Kirk, I think, EV Suit
Quite a bit
Warfighter.
of catharsis after we're talking about hoarding, and now we get to see all these sites being used.
This feels good to watch. Like, I'm living through you,
what I
PrimeRez.
was doing,
No, it just feels good to see that immortalization pop up, or having a focus to say, right, I want to put the site on them, but it's a tricky thing at the moment. It's a tricky state of the game, which is why everyone's sort of looking at this new quarter 1 feature, kind of hoping, are you going to inject some new use for this crew, even if they are of slightly lesser value, or but
I can't tell anyone to continue hoarding. Hold
the line.
But we do have this feature coming up where you're supposed to be able to target the crew you want. So I would just say, if you have a white whale, maybe hold off 3 or 4 sites just in case you can get them. And then if the feature ends up not being what we think it is, then, blow them after that. But for anyone who, no honor sale, I guess I'll just blow all my honor now. Well, maybe just wait 1 more week until we see next week on the show what the features are going to be. And if you can get that white whale that you've always wanted.
Yeah, because we know there is two currencies, ISM and Quantum, but we don't know how they're used, in what capacity, and whether they're going to use any of the other existing. Because obviously we got things like merits, which sit there only been used in Gauntlet, in credits. Obviously, there we go. That's the end of the video.
We talked about it last week. I mean, are they trying to drain us dry of credits because they're being used next month? Maybe.
Who knows? Let's spin a few beholds and cap this show out. Oops, it's playing the video again. Hang on. Let's do some spinning. Let's end on something fun. Before next week, and I shall announce next week, for those who haven't been paying attention, next week is the reveal of the Crew Retrieval system, which Ben will be on the show to talk about. We'll be doing that pretty much on time, and we will also be finishing up the questions we had from last time. So there is no new questions submitted this time. I do apologise, but we had quite a bit of a backlog left over from last time, so we will be answering those. But next week on February 3rd, we will be doing the Quarter Run reveal with Ben. Just so you know, but keep an eye on the forums and things like that. We'll be posting all the relevant information. But let's do a few beholds, and I've got to press the right button. Right, let's spin it. What are we hoping for?
Stream Deck for the.
I should have done. All I've got on my Stream Deck at the moment is.
Siete.
I've just got that. Oh, hang on. Or I've just got.
Shut up, Otto, you moron.
Anyway.
That's conducive to be old spinning.
I've got so many things on here. I've got like. I just never have the opportunity to use them. Or one if we ever get a good.
This is blue.
Or a blue card, you know. Oh, this is one I should have used. If we have ever anything to celebrate about.
I get you started, didn't I?
Anyway, right. Let's follow what we got. Okay. 0 stars on Bridal Keiko, 0 stars on Age of Sail Crusher, 0 stars on Revolutionary Damar.
By the way, Robert Kaiser in chat, while I wait for the stream to catch up, there was an in-game message announcing timeline stocks for next week. Yes, and I think it was the last one or the second last one before they added this 180-day timer. So I have it saved in my inbox.
I do as well. I have two things in my inbox, and that's conversion. Hang on.
Convergence Stake Quark and that message.
Yeah,
that's what I have.
There you go. Look. So I'm going to keep it in there for posterity. That's the only thing I don't have with 180 days on it. But yes, we're looking at the what is it? Bridal. Oh, getting my bridal people confused up now. Bridal Keiko. Miles.
Yeah, which bride is this? We're going to have several brides in game. Bride Mega.
Bride Mega, there you go. This is about as close as we will have to a wedding Mega. This is the big. They could have advertised it as the big day, really, couldn't they? Yes, this is Bridal Keiko. So Bridal Keiko, a lot of people in chat are saying Damar for Gauntlet. Fair enough. Bridal Keiko does have 400% damage at 8 seconds.
Now, vanity, that's like, that's my Achilles heel. If it's a vanity, I got to pick, especially a first star, because you can always fuse them later. But for gameplay reasons, it's probably Damar. Northern Monk.
Yeah,
I've yet to go through my whole advent calendar of beer that I showed off when Ben was on stream.
Have you still not finished that? Wow.
No, I'm about halfway through, but I have a buddy whose wife is due in a few days. And so his first chance to get away after the baby's born, he said he's going to come here. We're going to make some deep dish pizzas, and we're going to go through the rest of the advent calendar of beer. So
it's a hazy pale ale.
That is my honor sale. That's what I'm hoarding for the beer until we can do that.
It is 2 pant. Anyway.
You're just I opted for water today, so.
How did you?
I'm remarkably lucid comparatively. All right, who are you taking?
Who would I take? I would probably edge towards Damar for Gauntlet, but if I didn't have Killy or Garth or any of the 400% boomers, definitely Bridal Keiko. Age of Sail Crusher, I currently have frozen because she's not, she is med sec, I believe. You correct me if I'm wrong. But she's not the strong. Is she? I'm going to be terribly. She might be med dip actually. Let me check.
I don't think the word definitely Bridal Keiko have ever been put in that order before.
It depends. Yeah, but the thing is, you want that if you've had no other choice and you want that 400% boom, she's there.
If you're a new player, you know, and you want that damage, you also have someone across from her in Damar who's going to help you out a lot in the gauntlet because it takes a while to get up to speed there too. So,
Crusher is med dip, so I was wrong. There you go.
Yeah, it's
More
powerful.
useless.
There's arguments for everyone, but Revolutionary Damar's pose is the best. What's that? That quote: I have come to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. That's what I think of when I see Rev Damar in season 7 as the hero of the piece.
Oh, no, she is. No, she is. Sorry. Stephen Sinner says, is she med command? She is med command, but she's med dip command. So the command is quite a sort of small ancillary, but she is the bridal Troi of med command, not the
right.
Q Hefner. Let's do it. Right, toggle. 0 stars on Queen Guinevere Kira, 1 star on Eevee Suit Archer, 0 stars on Gull Madred. Oh, I think this has
like
to.
Damar's brother, the Cardassian gauntlet guy.
This is Cardassians on the right day, definitely. If it happens 3 times, it's a conspiracy.
By the way, did you have did the show Press Your Luck air in England?
Press Your Luck. I've heard the name, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
Where the little thing bounces around the game board, and then you have to hit the button to stop it from moving. And there are these little things called whammies where if you hit them, you lose your money or whatever.
Okay.
It's I think I sent you the link once for the sound effects for the do 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 do.
Oh, okay. You might have done.
Anyways,
I think it says Kira. Would you take? Yeah. You don't need any golds for the EV suit collection, and you definitely don't need any for the Cardassian.
So he does have 2 classes. He's got a pretty good command base, or at least for an archer, it's a pretty good one. I think for this one, I just want to say the crew slot because it's like I wouldn't use Madred very much in Gauntlet, and Kira for events is like at 1 star. I'll say the crew slot.
Penny's jury rigger as well, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, he's jury rigger in the EV suit collection.
Okay, let's go with the theme of hoarding and save a crew slot. That one is EV suit archer then. Okay, this one. Oh, this one's interesting. 0 stars on Mirror Bashir, 2 stars on I'm holding a Tongo deck, but it actually looks like holding a brain Dax, and 0 stars on Borg Queen.
By the way, that's Roxanne Bashir because you don't have to turn off the green light.
Oh yeah, because he's got the fading out.
It's Amsterdam brothel Bashir.
I've been to Amsterdam a couple of times actually. It's quite nice. One of my favourite moments from Amsterdam was me and my wife were sitting on a bench on the edge of the red light district having a beer, sort of just casually watching. We saw one of the doors open, and if anyone's not accustomed to what goes on in Amsterdam, go look it up. And you give a knock at the door and negotiate. Anyway, one of the red doors opened, and out walks this old boy, this old man, swings on his cap, puts on his rucksack, says thank you very much, and walks off. And I was like, good on him. Anyway.
A lot of you don't know this, but his middle name is actually Captain Debauchery Idol. So that's...
Tis the theme. Do we need to loop back around to Sub Rosa again? I feel like I'm sort of forming the perfect circle here.
Just play that at the end when we sign off, because people deserve to see that. If you are a Frasier fan like the 2 of us are, I'm sure they appreciate it. Oh, I see a few Daxes. I see a Queen.
Mirror is Mirror.
I was going to say Mirror Collection. Does that sway anyone? I mean, you need 4 more stars, but...
I would be tempted to go Ball Queen. As good as, well, I mean, obviously she's one of the oldest cards in the game, that Dax, and she kind of shows it in her stats, but a Dax is a Dax, when was the last Jadzia and Ezri Dax event we had? Was it 9 as Ezri?
Hold on. There was a Galaxy in August of last year, and a Faction Galaxy in April of last year, and a Galaxy in February of last year.
So still fairly recurrent.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely gets her events. And a 3rd star would probably make her usable on shuttles if she's not already. So, yeah.
Okay. I think that's
fine.
I guess
I'll just keep adding stars.
And stars. Poor stars. If only you were here with us still.
He was so young, and now he's off with the Angels.
He is. By the way, just for everyone listening, he is still alive. He's just not on the show at the moment. Dearly beloved.
Yes.
Oh, weren't you told? Right, okay. Let's pause this.
Be wrong. If he wants to defend himself, he's welcome to come back and do just that.
He's got access to the channel.
He's heckling us chat anyway. So.
Okay, this is 1 star again on Queen Guinevere Kira. 0 stars on Torpedo McCoy. 0 stars on now politician Chancellor Martok.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to do anything with politician? Like, if they're going through all the trouble of condensing and adding and mixing traits, like, is that going to be?
Interestingly,
event?
if you've not looked, for those that haven't seen, there is the Timelines Backend Stats Hyper Super Edition, which I made stupidly long just for the laugh of it. You can see that on the forums, but I do count all the traits. And politician, since all the changes, the best politician in terms of base score to put on shuttles. The actual best one is UFP President Ragot. I can't even say it. You know who I mean. The guy from the Undiscovered Country. Don't ask me to pronounce anything. Red Foreman, yes. He's actually one of the best ones up there with Chancellor Laurel.
Paul Needenshat points out maybe one of the few most impactful trade changes is they added Jury Rigger to Torpedo McCoy.
They did. That's a very good one.
You're close to a collection spot on there, and you have a few stars on him. He's not the worst crew to finish up.
But in terms of taking first star on, like he's mid-eng, but only on the engineering's the tertiary, if I recall correctly.
I'm taking Martok. I just love Martok. Said I wasn't here for the episode when you did the reading of his love affair with Sorella, but he's got 3 collections now. He's Klingon, which you're going to need all the good ones you can get, and some of the bad ones, at least for another year or 2. He's also Diplomat too. That is massive collection value. So that's a slam dunk Martok for me. And it's just a great character. So that's not my favorite art in the game, but for gameplay reasons, I'd take him pretty easily.
Just in chat, Chipon asked, did Stars actually quit the game / show? No, he's just taking a break at the moment, but we'll see,
Love him. To love him, know him. There's a fan edit. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube where they're doing that scene and Data's reading that off. And you see they edited Wesley in behind in the torpedo glass. And he's looking around and he doesn't know what's going on. And then they beam the torpedo out into space and Wesley's floating around instead of Robert Graves. So there's a lot of good Wesley TNG edits on YouTube. You go down the rabbit hole on that one.
I'm hoping at some point in the future, as well as obviously once move has happened, which is I've actually got a date of 16 days time to actually move house. Hurrah for me. I'm hoping sort of post this, once we get a bit settled, we'll start doing a bit more sort of non-timeline stuff, more Star Trek stuff, like You and Me Auto and Stars as well, and a few others have played around with Star Trek Adventures, the role-playing game. We've had a lot of fun with that. I hope we'll do some other Star Trek stuff as well as timeline. So we kind of want to branch out once we get off the go, because even if say like Stars, he's taking a break from the game, but even if he doesn't come back, I don't want to lose him. He's a great guy to talk to, so he's a great guy to do stuff with. So I hope we'll do some stuff. What do you think, Otto? You get this where you say, "No, fuck that man."
Well, I think we've done like half of an in memoriam on him so far in this episode. So.
No, okay.
Love boat, soon they'll be making another run. I had fun with you tonight. We have Ben on next week to preview Crew Retrieval, and then your house move will be off for a little while. So
yeah, I'm going to be taking a break until I get settled or internet and comes in, but it'll probably be about a month or so before we come back in. But oops, no, all right. Oh, I just accidentally spun it again. Should we do it or not?
The box behind you says Fragile Wrecked.
Fragile Wrecked. Actually, no, it's direct. So that's wrecked. Yeah, we just wrecked. I don't know what's in these. I think, honest to God, right, I packed up all my books into about 20 boxes, and I was like, don't feel like I've touched the house, but I've got a big stack of boxes just full of books. It's ridiculous. I barely read. I can barely read anyway. I can barely pronounce anything. Anyway, I think this is a good time to stop the show before I get too inebriated. Next week, we will be back with Ben, and we'll be revealing the Q1 feature, the Crew Retrieval, where Ben will be taking us through step by step, and we will be answering the last few Q&A questions, so please don't submit any more. We are not accepting at the moment. And then we will...
You might answer them as Ben and give you false hope.
Yes.
We'll say, oh, yeah, we heard it from Ben when we're passing this, but don't tell anyone. That's between the three of us.
Save your honor. Save your credits. Save it all. Don't play the game. Just save it all. Anyway, we'll be back next week, and then we'll be taking a break. But from myself and from, I assume from Auto as well, we will hopefully see you next week, and then we will see you as... And I'm just going to play that Frasier thing again.
Sound of that. Now, I think I should still run against you.
Why?
Well, if I drop out just as you announce your candidacy, people might suspect something's up. It's better that our political leisure demand remain sub rosa. Sub rosa.
Sub rosa. Sub rosa.
You believe what you want, lass. Just dinna light that candle.
Lorna, stop this. Stop this, please.
Beverly, it's all right. Have trust in me.
How would a normal person say that, Dad?
I did fall asleep reading a particularly erotic chapter in my grandmother's journal.
This is gonna be sweet.